All right, we are live for another Mindset Monday. I'm just going to let this refresh so I can pull up the feed here in case people have questions, but I'm pumped for this one, man. Kudos to you for this topic. Like this is one of my favorites. I am definitely a book junkie, so I think this will be helpful.
Me too. Me too. Books this week, podcast next week. So it's a good 2 weeks we got here.
Well, I'll definitely have to shameless plug Short-Term Rental Secrets podcast. That's for sure. People won't
That's all
preview
right.
that, but all right, cool, man. Well, how was your weekend?
It was great. It was great. Got another property up and running. We just listed it yesterday, another beach property, and then I got a lead for a property in Raleigh to go. So overall, good weekend. Won a golf tournament. That was cool too. So
Wow,
um,
what'd you shoot?
so it was a team event. It was a scramble type team event, but I got paired up with some good teammates and we crushed the combo. I mean, we won by like 4 strokes, which
Wow.
doesn't happen too often in these type of events. So it was a good Saturday morning. I won $70. So
Take that.
big,
I'll take that.
big pay. Yeah.
I'm
So how
playing
about you?
I'm playing in a tournament this coming weekend. I forget what they call it, something like figure eight or whatever. It's total scramble. Like you just put your name and they pair you up with three random people. So it's good networking and it's a 2 day tournament. So it should be fun. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
looking forward to that. Yeah, we just got back from New Hampshire a couple hours ago. Spent another long weekend up there. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Went mini golfing. My son's loving that, so I'm down. Brought his little putter and my putter out there to get serious with it. Went. What else did we do? We went hiked up a huge ledge, which was cool. Um, and just had like a lot of like fun chill time. Like took him to some parks and just had a good time. So,
Nice.
but excited to get back into it, man. And you want to talk about today's topic and where you came up with this?
Yeah. I know you and I both are book junkies, and there's a lot of books out there that are um, focus on personal development or just um, there's a odd, I guess, feeling that a lot of people have about personal growth, personal development. Read these books, but um, these books really do make a difference, and you can pull multiple things out of these books, but the key is to implement them daily. And we can talk about some of our, I think, the top five favorite books that we've read and we've talked about and we've studied, um, and hopefully some other people can add some of their thoughts. And if they've read the books, tell us in the comments. They've got book suggestions as well. Tell us in the comments. But these are five books that I've read. I mean, I really read them yearly, at least once. I know you're the same way. Like for me, I read a book and then I'll read it again and again. I'll read it like 3 or 4 times. I'll listen to it, do it all at the same time, just to like study it, almost like a textbook. Um, but this is something that's, you know, since college for me has really taken me to the next level in my job, but in my relationships and in my SDR business. So I'm really excited to share with you guys.
Yeah, and the books that we're going to share, you just alluded to, they're not books that you just read and then you're like, okay, that was cool. These are books that you like study. So like one of the books that I'll mention here in a minute when we get into it, I read and listened to on Audible on repeat for like 3 months straight. Like I didn't read anything else. So I used to do like a book a week, like that was my thing, getting all this information. But the problem is it doesn't give you time to implement whatever you're reading. So a lot of these books over here, I've read them, but if you ask me to like, what were my top five or top 10 takeaways, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I just read them, right? I didn't study them, I didn't implement them. And these books that we're going to talk about today, these are books that I've read, particularly my top three in here that I've like studied and continue to read on a regular basis. They're like my Bibles, and I just rotate through them depending on where I'm at in the journey. and I just keep going back to them on repeat. But I've got some that are a little more advanced. I've got some that are really good for folks that are fairly new to personal development and need to ease their way in. So why don't we? How do you want to do this?
Let's start with that one. Let's start with these. Let's ease the viewers in.
Okay.
What's the book that you recommend that eases people in?
I think one of the best ones that I've ever read for somebody like new in the game or advanced is it's called The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It is a phenomenal book. Like you'll see, like I've got like multiple little like notes in here. It's highlighted. I've got thumbnails throughout the whole thing. Like it's an amazing book. I didn't even know who Jack Canfield was, honestly, until I got into it and I did a little research. He's the guy that started like the whole Chicken Soup for the Soul, which I haven't even read, if I'm being honest. But this book is dynamite. And he lists out 67 different success principles, but he has different exercises that you can do and go through them. And he breaks them down into these categories. So, like, let me find the table of contents here. So, he's got 24 of them, which are your fundamentals. Then 25 to 38 is to transform yourself. 39 to 47 is to build your success team. 48 to 55 is to create successful relationships. 56 to 62 is success and money. Developing a positive money consciousness. Because a lot of people, whether or not they realize it, you're sabotaging your success based on some of the limiting beliefs that you have. And a lot of that stems from how you were brought up or certain things that may have happened to you along the way, but you subconsciously, you push money away and you don't even know about it. And then the last 63 to 67 is success in a digital age. And I read this book many times when I was getting into this, and it's a phenomenal read. So it's a great way for somebody to go through. I mean, you could literally just read this for the next 12 months and be light years ahead of where you are right now, if you actually implement what he talks about in this book. So number one, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. It's literally like a playbook.
I love it. I love it. I've never read that one, so I got to check it out.
Yeah. The second one, again, to somewhat ease into it, not as in depth as Jack's book, but nonetheless, another great read. And I just love the stories and the analogies that he uses in this, but it's Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. Now, Dean's been in the real estate game a long time and he's really blown up. I mean, he was huge if you were into real estate for a long time, but now he's really blown up with his partnerships with Tony Robbins and all this stuff. But he wrote this book, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago, and I grabbed a copy when it first came out. But, the way that he lays it out, he has 11 chapters. First one is The Time is Right to Change Your Habits. Chapter 2 is the foundation for all your success. Chapter 3 is The Villain Within. The Villain Within. Chapter 4 is The Power of Your Story. How you talk to yourself, the stories that you tell yourself. Chapter 5 is Awakening Your Inner Hero. Chapter 6 is One Shining Goal. Getting clear, like I always talk about, creating that North Star for yourself. Chapter 7 is Attraction and Persuasion. Chapter 8 is After the Yes. Chapter 9 is The Power of Happiness. Chapter 10 is Quick Hacks to Success. And chapter 11 is The Challenge. She challenges you to go and implement a lot of this stuff. So that is book number 2. Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. Highly recommend this one. Used to be able to get it for free. All you had to do is pay for shipping. I'm not sure if he's still doing that, but really, really good book. And then we get into my top 3. Now, these are the books that I just continuously read over and over and over again. And I cycle through them, like I said, depending on where I'm at. So I don't even know how I would. I'm not even going to say that these are in particular order because all 3 of them are dynamite. Okay. The first one, actually, I'll save this one for last, second to last, because most people haven't heard of it. Third one is Think and Grow Rich. Now, most people that I talk to say that they have read Think and Grow Rich, which is good, but have you studied this book? This is like the Bible for success. Napoleon Hill dedicated his life to interview the most successful people on the planet and document what they had in common. Like, how did they do it? And they all had these these traits or these principles that they live by. And he just lays it out in here for you, like literally just these are the keys. And I literally just read this on repeat, and I'll focus on specific chapters. So like right now I'm in the middle of reading chapter 6 every day. So, which is the imagination. You can get dialed into your imagination. He calls it the workshop of your mind. And I love watching my 5-year-old now because his imagination is phenomenal. Like we were playing about an hour ago outside, like he just makes up these things and all these games and all this stuff. And then when we hit a certain age, we're taught to like stop doing all that stuff. But I promise you, the more you can tap into your imagination and see the life that you want to have and imagine it, that is how you're going to unlock it for yourself. So, number 3, Think and Grow Rich. Okay. Number 2 is a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Psycho-Cybernetics. It's by a guy named Maxwell Maltz. He was a plastic surgeon back in the day, and he was trying to figure out why sometimes when he would, fix somebody's face or whatever, they had a terrible scar or they got burned, and he did whatever he did to fix their face or whatever part of their body. Sometimes it would completely change that person's life and their confidence would be back, and they'd go out and they'd be that new person that they were always dreaming of being, and they'd be super successful. But sometimes it would have no effect. And he was like, why is that? So this book is literally, there's exercises in here. It gives you space to like fill stuff out. Like it's probably my 3rd copy of this book because I keep giving it away. But he teaches you how to recreate your self-image, recreate your identity, essentially. And I'm actually going through that process right now because I've evolved in my business and in different areas of my life. And now I'm redesigning who is the next version of Mike Sjogren. Like that is what I'm focused on right now. And this book will teach you exactly how to do that. My buddy Nick Spone told me about this book a few years ago. And, within a short period of time, I'd say within 12 months after reading this, like I was a full-time real estate investor. It completely shifted my identity from Mike Sjogren, the CPA accountant guy, to Mike Sjogren, the real estate investor. And it's just so good. So I highly recommend it. So this is called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It is a dynamite book. So highly, highly recommend that one for you guys. Go through it, fill out the exercises. But again, these are books that you don't just read and then just put it back on the bookshelf. Like Mike knows, these 3, and actually one more that we won't have time to get into today. I got to pace you guys, but they don't leave my desk. Like they don't even go on that shelf. They just stay on my desk because I read them every single day. So there's no point in putting them back on the bookshelf. The last one that I actually discovered this past year that was a total game changer for me and took some of my business stuff to a whole new level, was a book that was written in, I believe it's 1938 or 1939, but it wasn't published until like 2011 because the author's family was so nervous to publish it because they thought they would have so much negative backlash that it literally didn't get published for like 2 or 3 generations. And then finally they said, all right, we got to publish this thing because it's so freaking good. And it's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Same dude that wrote Think and Grow Rich, he wrote this one after. And again, this book, I think I've read this book, I don't know, probably 12 times at this point, and just in the last 8 months.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. Like I don't even know what else to say about it. I know I got you hooked on it, Mike. And it's just one of those books that like, it's crazy how it still applies today.
Yeah.
Like, and it was written in the 30s, but it's still so relevant today. And it's just crazy. So I don't want to spoil too much about it. I kind of want to tease that one out there because if you pick this book up, I'm telling you, just read the book. Like it is so good, and reread it and reread it and reread it. Like I said, these 3 books do not leave my desk. Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, and Psycho Cybernetics. If you want to change your life, study these guys and have an open mind. Because if you're new to personal development, you're going to be like, what the hell is going on right now? But I promise you, if you stick with this stuff, it'll change your world, like completely change your world. A lot of people talk about law of attraction and all this other stuff. Most people have no clue what the hell they're talking about. And they don't know, they have no clue on how it actually works. But I promise you it works. I promise you. But you got to study this stuff and you got to implement it and you got to act on it. And you need the repetition over and over and over again. I pay a lot of money to be in some elite masterminds that all we do is focus on this stuff. That's it. There's no business stuff. There's nothing else. All it is this stuff. And I promise you, this is the stuff that will take you to the next level. I can teach you guys exactly how to launch, automate, and scale a short-term rental business as big as you want to go. But if you don't have this stuff, you will screw it up. You will. Like I could write it out in vivid detail. I could put you in the mastermind, show you step by step by step. But if you don't do this, you will screw it up. Period. What about you, Mike? I'm curious to hear what your top 5 are now.
I mean, we met February 2020. I hadn't really, I read some books like The Compound Effect. That was one I was big into before meeting you. There's a couple other ones. The One Thing, that was a big one. But these 5 books, or 4 books, because I haven't read the first one, has made the biggest difference for me, like working a 9 to 5, not knowing what else was out there, to now we have multiple businesses. And my wife has retired from her 9 to 5 that she didn't like and was getting basically harassed by bosses and customers and stuff like that. But I agree. I mean, the top 3 books, Outwitting the Devil for me, has opened my mind. I mean, I get goosebumps even thinking about it and listening to it and reading it. I still get goosebumps. Listening to you talk about it and recap it gives me goosebumps too, because it's just opened my eyes to the psychology of why we do things and how we can take control of our lives, right? We always talk about how we're in control of really our future and our lives, and we're not victims to the things that happen around us. And there's, we talk about one guy that we both follow really closely, Jocko Willink. He's got a couple books out there as well. One that is my favorite is a kid's book. It's called Way of the Warrior Kid. And it talks about a 5th grader who's getting picked on at school. On the last day of school, he gets picked on, gets bullied, and then his uncle comes to stay with him for a summer and teaches him how to take accountability of the things that he got picked on and take control of his life. A 5-year-old. And the book is just so well written. It's a children's book, so if people watching have kids, it's a great book to read to your kid or share with them, or just share with them some of the main concepts of it. But it's all about taking control of our lives, and then understanding and having faith in the things that we can't control, and then having the serenity to know the difference. So these books have changed my life. I'm going to continue to study them, and then there's going to be books that we read and study as we go forward too, that are going to do the same and only make us better. So
did you have any different ones? What else was in your top 5?
No, Extreme Ownership. So the other 2 that I had was Way of the Warrior Kid, Extreme Ownership. This is also written by Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL commander that is now leads a leadership consulting group, and talks about the darkness of war. He led SEAL Team 3 in the War Against Terror, and some of the lessons learned from like some of the darkest parts of the world. and how that applies back to what we do in our daily lives, like it's not much different. The challenges that they're seeing in war and like in the darkest parts of the world can relate back to what we're doing, and how do we take the lessons learned, like how to put your ego in check when you're fighting against terrorists. Like you can't have a big ego with your team or with them, or else people will die. Same thing when we're leading teams. Like we have to check our ego. Um, Decentralized command, prioritizing and executing, keeping things simple. Like these are some of the things that he writes about from learning lessons in war that relate back to what we do every single day. So that's one that I didn't have on there. I've got Psycho-Cybernetics, Millionaire Success Habits, Think and Grow Rich. I'm reading one right now that's really good. It's another one by an Admiral William McRaven, which a lot of people have probably seen his speeches. It's called Sea Stories. He led special operations groups that that did a lot. So captured Saddam Hussein, killed Bin Laden,
Captain Phillips too, I think.
Captain Phillips back. Basically, any special operations tasks that have been done in the last like 15 years, this guy's been a part of, like very closely. So his lessons learned are huge too. So we got a bunch of comments. This is a heavy topic. We want to dive into some of these comments here.
Yeah, one thing I just want to touch on real quick, and then I want to get into the question. So a lot of people talk about habits. Habits are good, but if we go a layer deeper, okay, if I want to become, say I'm brand new to this and I want to become a 10K a month short-term rental investor, or I want to become a bodybuilder, or I want to become whatever, all that habits are is a shift in your identity, right? So like I like to use the analogy of like I'm an athlete. So what does that mean? So it means I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to train. I'm going to keep my body active. I'm going to operate like an athlete. Now, when you're starting something new, a lot of that can feel foreign to you. So the key is the more you shift your identity to become that person, the more you do it on autopilot, right? 95% of our day, we just go through the motions on autopilot. And that's part of our identity. So success gets a lot easier when you get in there and you reprogram your subconscious to do the things that are going to move the needle for you without thinking about it. So whether that's getting up early, whether that's reading these books, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's making the sales calls, whatever it is for you, when you just find yourself just dialing, like without even thinking about it, you know that you're starting to shift your identity. You know that you're starting to become that person that you need to be. So one of the questions Tristan asked, he said, I know you're both so busy. When do you read during the day and how much time per day do you spend reading? So Tristan, you can ask Kristen this. Like if we're in the car, I've got an audiobook on and she always busts my chops. Like my car is my audio book / podcast time, but I also build it into my schedule. So every day at 8:30 in the morning, I have a reading partner that we'll pick 5 pages or so out of these and we'll read it together and we'll analyze it and we'll study it. So I have a reading buddy that I meet with every single morning at 8:30. It's just in my calendar. So again, it comes back to having those type of accountability partners. I know I got to get up and I have to carve out that time every single day to read because I have a reading buddy that I go through this material with. So it's just calendared in. Like I live off of my calendar. Those of you guys that are in the mastermind or some of the programs, like, like I don't pick this thing up unless you're on my calendar. I don't answer the phone ever, unless it's my wife. And usually it takes like 2 to 3 times and then I'll answer it. And it's not to be a jerk, but it's because I am massively deliberate with my time. So I plan out my weeks. I plan out my days. I plan out my hours within those days. I am hyper deliberate with my time. Like there's no question about that. So be really intentional with your time, protect your time. And when things are important to you, calendar it, put it in your calendar. Like I don't really operate on to-do lists. Like I just have a calendar that like I operate off of.
Yeah. And you write down your goals every day, so you know
Exactly.
what the North Stars are. For me, when I'm studying a book, which is once a quarter at least, I'll read it when I'm working out, or like either running or lifting or whatever I'm doing. I'm listening to it, and then the next morning I will reread. So I'll read it the next morning. I'll listen to it first, and then read it the next morning, highlight it, and then I'll actually type out my notes and put them in and kind of reflect on what I listened to and then read. And then for a lot of the books that I'm just like, this is a new book I'm reading, I'm just testing out, or like Sea Stories, I'm listening to it because it's it's something I'm interested in and I'm pulling away lessons, but it's not something that I'm studying like Outwitting the Devil. Always studying that. So that's what I do for me. Podcasts are different too.
Yeah. Yeah. Nate says his Amazon card's full. He hasn't read any of these. Good. Let's get into these questions.
And Never Split the Difference is good.
Yep.
Rip That Poor
Definitely a
Dad.
solid like tactical read. I got that one over here somewhere. You can probably see it. It's like, right. Yeah.
Power of Habit. That's another really good one.
Atomic Habits is good. But the books that we picked today were primarily focused on your mindset and like how do you shift your mindset for success? Because again, like I'm telling you, the key is when you can get it in your subconscious mind that this is who I am, this is how I operate now, then you just operate on autopilot. You don't have to think about it anymore. So it takes work to do that, but once you do, it's like you just programmed in the cheat code for whatever the hell you want, and then you just go. Like I don't have to think about it anymore. It's just in there now. So like whether it's doing deals, whether it's coaching, whether it's doing this kind of stuff, like it's just in there. It's just ingrained and it's on my damn calendar. So I know if it's on my calendar, it's a priority. So it's going to get done. Heather said just got the E-Myth. Yep. That's another solid business one. Yep. Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins. Yep. I actually don't think I've read it. I've heard his story so many times and listened to different podcasts, but I don't think I've actually read his book. But yeah, he's a savage.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Anybody else have any other questions before we wrap it up? We'll be back tomorrow with another Tuesdays with Mike and Mike. What are we talking about tomorrow, Mike, while we're waiting for questions?
Let me see here. Oh, we're going to analyze a deal. I know Vicky gave us a deal to analyze, so she gave us a property. So we're going to pull up our analyzer and show people how we analyze deals. What's a good deal? What's our criteria? Give it a yes or no on it, and we can do multiple as well. So
I love it. Love it. Cool. Well, as always, buddy, appreciate you jumping on here. Hopefully this was helpful for everybody. Quick recap again. My top 5 were for newer folks: Success Principles by Jack Canfield, Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi, Psycho Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Those are my top 5 for mindset. Cool.
And then some bonuses. I've got Way of the Warrior Kid, Jocko Willink, and Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink. I'm a fanboy, but he's got a bunch of other good ones that I can also include: Discipline Equals Freedom, Leadership Strategy and Tactics, Field Manual. He's got 2 more, 1 more coming out. It's got like 3 more kids' books. But yeah, Outwitting the Devil. Everybody, take this.
Mandatory reading.
Listen to it, study it.
I love it. It's awesome, buddy. Well, thank you as always. Really appreciate it. Everybody else, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and take care, everybody.